Well, hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 46. This is our weekly music production, technology, and marketing podcast. Today we're talking about AUXCORD and some exciting news for Curtis. He's very excited about this. Some interesting news from Akai. So we'll get into that very soon. My name is Sunwarper, and with me today is Eon Lake. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. And your good self? How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's been a crazy morning, but we're here. It's a lot of fun, so I'm ready to go. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I haven't accidentally bought a Night Sky reverb pedal.
The Discord would seem to disagree with you. I saw video or picture proof.
Yeah. I'm blaming it on the live setup, but the truth of the matter is the live setup seems to be becoming more and more minimal as I think about it, and I think it's just going to be laptop and an SP404 and maybe a controller, and leave it at that, and use the SP404 as a sound card.
Yeah, you're going to use it as the interface with the USB 3 connection. Yeah,
take the output out of that. I mean, as I'm getting as minimal as I can, but at the same time, a kind of a doorless messing around play table seems to be developing as well, which is where that sort of fits in. Having some sort of decent hardware reverb that I don't have to sort of run it through mixers and into my computer for.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And also, I anticipate doing a fair bit of ambient stuff in the near future.
Ooh,
really? That's surprising.
Yep. I've got to finish that off. I've got 2 done and just doing a 3rd one now. But
there you go.
Some other stuff as well, I think.
Cool. All right.
There's a lot of ideas bouncing around at the moment. It's because I haven't got a deadline for anything. That's when I get my ideas start to come.
Yeah.
So
well, there you go. That's when the blossoms start the creativity. That's when you gotta get everything down. And
whatever it is, it's gonna have reverb.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it has double reverb, night sky and big sky. Just make it the like universe sky or something.
I think it's something that was always a fair bet anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm excited for that. Let us know how it goes. Also with us today is my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. What's going on?
All right, yeah. It's my feet have not touched the ground since last week. It's almost like I blinked and then all of a sudden it's Wednesday again.
I know. I was going to say, you feel more certain of yourself today. You didn't go, that's me.
Yeah. I have had many an existential crisis in the last couple of weeks.
I was going to say, maybe you've been so busy you can't go outside of yourself. You're just stuck.
Yeah.
Just can't.
That's me rather than that's me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or maybe I'm just learning. Who knows? Maybe as we continue down towards getting into a year of doing ADSN, maybe I just know where things are. You know? Or maybe I'm just
to respond to your name. That's an important feature of ADSN.
The average dog learns that a lot quicker. You do know that with just a packet of biscuits.
To be fair, if you guys had a packet of biscuits for me each week, maybe I'd be a little bit more on the ball. We'll have to see.
Well, I'm a little far away from you. Eon Lake's a little closer, but
ping them over.
it's a bit hard. You know, maybe I
tricky one.
think you said you don't even have Amazon, so I can't just be like, hey, send this to Curtis.
You could make them like little NFTs, and then I'll just like.
How would you eat it? It's non-fungible.
We'll see.
Yeah,
So what have you been up to, Curtis?
I'm continuing with January. That's been my thing over the past couple of weeks, and that's still going strong. Been playing around with stuff, and that's good fun. And getting ready. I've been playing with more of the launch control, and now the live set templates slowly coming together, like building things, and I'm troubleshooting with things like latency and sound and mixes and stuff. And I'm running a lot of private live streams on my YouTube to see what's working and what's not. It's good. If you were curious, anyone, hello in the chat, everybody. If you were curious, I did put a little sneaky peek in, I think it was the Patreon channel. It might have been the Patreon channel on our Discord. So yeah, go have a look if you're interested at all. It's a little bit rough, but things are blossoming, so it's good fun.
Nice.
But yeah, hello to everyone in the chat. It's lovely to see everyone sitting and chatting. Sunwarper, what have you been up to?
Well, since you brought up the chat, I should say welcome and let us know what you guys have been up to this week. What music, what production stuff. Has anybody gotten new gear besides Eon Lake? Maybe you'll make Eon Lake feel a little better, you know, because he swore off this year that he wasn't going to buy anything, but here we go. It's already started. Only a few days into January. So, way to go. David in the chat said that he's having existential battles with mutable beads, plates, and marbles. And I mean, I always say, what's life without a little existential dread? That's, you know, you got to have just a bit to know that you're in life. But I've been good besides the existential dread. I brought out the pocket operator again because we were talking about those lo-fi sample rates, low bit sample rates and stuff. And I was like, you know, the pocket operator is like 8-bit and that Liven was 12. So let's see what this sounds like. And I had a lot of fun. I put my phone directly into it and sampled sounds from GarageBand and made this really cool little like IDM thing. It's up on my YouTube shorts.
Is that the one with the ocean sort of top-down images?
No, that was this really cool app from independent creator named they're called We Name You apps, like weirdly named music apps. It's a sine wave plugin, but he also sent me a grain sampler, so I'm going to be looking into that for the next ADSN.
That sounded really good.
Yeah, the sine waves are awesome, and there's a ring modulator for every note. You can do some crazy stuff with it. I would highly recommend checking out. It's on my channel. I have a video on it, but it's really cool. But yeah, the pocket operator, that lo-fi bitrate sounds real nice. I was like, I don't know what Eon Lake's talking about. It sounds nice and crispy, and I even put it into the SP and used the lo-fi setting to make it extra crispy.
I did like it. Yeah, I did like it.
Yeah, but that's what I've been up to. What's going on in the news?
Shrunk it.
Just a lot of headroom today.
Oh, yeah. I can't stand today. I every time I stand, my back's been hurting. So I was like, I feel like an old man today. I'm going to sit. So I'm sitting. But I forgot, that did mention my desk is completely redone. I've got the Erebus back up. I've got the speakers on a stand thanks to Eon Lake's recommendation. So I have way more space. So I think I can even squeeze the circuit on here again.
There's a profit there, isn't there?
Yes, there is a profit. Since I'm sitting, you can see it. I've been playing it. And I got to tell you, having MIDI both in and out is awesome, because I've been playing parts on the Prophet, and then if I don't like a thing, I could just tweak it in the MIDI and just send it right back through.
Yeah, there you go. It's all coming up some more.
Yeah, MIDI Mountain will be here.
Apart from the desk, which is down today.
Yeah, that's true, but MIDI Mountain will be here next week. Don't you worry. I'll have that synth stand. It's built, it's in the garage, and it's coming.
I was going to say, we'll do a video on that, aren't we?
Yeah, it's coming.
Now, people in the chat, pay heed. We all need to keep Sunwarper accountable to this. He's been saying this for a while now.
If it's not there next week, I don't know. You could yell at me or something.
A fabled synth stand.
Yeah. But yes, everyone in the chat, thank you very so much for joining us. We love it when you guys turn up. It's nice to hear what everyone's up to. Please let us know what you're up to and what you've been up to. We love it because we want to know. This show is brought to us by our patrons. So people in the chat, a lot of you guys, you're patrons. So thank you. People watching back, if you like what we do, consider becoming a patron. It starts at $2. Is a pledge. And that gets you early access to all our stuff, a special Patreon channel, and a Twitter chat where we kind of share things, what's going on in our life, and tips and tricks, etc.
Yeah,
It's a
and
lovely little
monthly
community.
hangout sessions. The
And
Starstream hangout sessions we do, it's basically like a free-for-all podcast, but we don't record it or anything. Just all the patrons that can make it, we hang out and we talk about whatever and anything, anything. Mostly it's gear and synth nerdiness. It's nice to have a little community where we can talk about these things because, you mention it to someone outside and they're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Be like, I put this really crazy LFO on an oscillator. They're like, you lost me at L.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really nice nerd out. The next one is on February the 5th. By the way, just for anyone keeping a mental note of the calendar, which I have in front of me here. It's always good fun. I love nerding.
Well, you can live the dream and tell me to shut up.
I would never.
You are the wisest
I always
of
wanted
men.
to do that.
Why would we tell the wisest of men to shut up? But anyway, okay, we got a lot to get through, and we are cutting it short a bit today. We are going at the top of the hour. We're only here for 60 minutes today, so we'll move through. We've got a public service announcement, some news, and then a slight. What are we calling it, Sunwarper?
Oh, just a bit of a correction.
A slight correction. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll go with that.
Oh, slight. That's even better.
Slight correction. Yeah. We'll start with a public service announcement, which I dug up from Instagram of all places. I don't think it's a new thing, but it's something I've just stumbled across, and people might find it interesting. I don't know if anyone's heard of this before. This is AUXCORD, which is an awesome little idea, awesome little thing. It acts as a standalone piece of software and as a VST, and you connect it on your phone and you connect it on your computer, and you can directly stream sound from your phone into your DAW with no cording, no wiring, no routing, no nothing.
How's the latency?
That's what I was thinking.
I imagine there's quite a bit of latency, but I feel like this is more for printing as opposed to like live connection. So like if you've got
dump it and correct it, couldn't you?
Yeah, so like if you like, for example, I use a lot of voice samples, which I usually take from places like we all do, and instead of me downloading the MP3 and doing all that, you can just take it from there, for example. Or if you've got a sound recorder, a field recording on your phone, I know Jupes does a lot of that, for example. This would be a great way to do that, I suppose. Yeah. I have to test it out. It's a small amount. I think it's like $5 or something. But so 500 Czech crowns. So more like $20. Sorry, got that a bit wrong. So it's $20. I have to test it out. But it seems to be like a really good way for printing.
I mean, it seems like if you do a lot of even sampling from digital means or record audio, dialogue, things like that, it would make sense that it would be a very quick way to just get it to where you need it to be, rather than like saving it onto your iCloud or something like that and all that. Just like be right there. But I would really like to know the latency. What do you think, Yannick?
It's all about workflow. If you get these things done quickly and easily, I mean, who needs to be spending time on getting something off here onto there? If you can make these things easy, it's a win for me. I've seen in the past, I've seen things like this that do whatever over wireless or Bluetooth or whatever, where you have a server part of an application and a client on your phone or whatever device you're using, and had mixed results. So I think it's all about how well it will actually perform.
That's a way to go. Like I say, from what I've seen from the adverts and mainly from people on Instagram, it's for printing as opposed to doing anything sort of like sampling live or anything like that. I think that's what it'd be for. Like if you're, what they're called, free to use sounds. The guy who's going all around the world making field recordings of stuff. That would be kind of where it'd be useful for, that kind of thing. That's always a good chat.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear if anybody in the chat sees a use for it for their own workflow. So let us know.
Or knows of a similar tool that works well.
Yeah. If there's something that's cheaper or anything else, let us know.
Or if you have a current workflow that you really like, even despite having a couple like steps to it.
Completely and utterly. Okay, any more on that, or should we move across to
I think
Akai?
that's it.
Okay, so the main thing from Akai, this is really interesting, seeing as I jumped on this purely because I bought the new launch control at the beginning of the year, specifically asking some of our patrons, is there any alternative which is okay? And Hydrofighter came out with his Akai, which was a little bit more. But now they've brought out a collection of the APC Mini Mark II and the APK Key 25. Two MIDI controllers. I can't show two things at once, but I will share this for this. I will
You
share
do
this.
one then the other. It's okay.
I'll do one then the other. That's what I'm going to do.
Sequentially is quite all right.
I can't deal with two things at once.
I can't do I struggle with one thing, so that's fair enough. Yeah. So this is the Akai Professional APC Mini, which came out at the end of December, but they started their marketing campaign a couple of days ago. So just for reference, 2,390 crowns is about 99 euro, which is about $100 basically.
Yeah.
And this is so for $100. It's basically what looks to be like a formation or a Frankenstein, a smashing together of the Novation launch pad and the launch control together. You've got trigger pads, as you can see there, which are fully RGB, and you've got faders, so you can plug and play into Ableton, and you can instantly just be controlling. It's 8 tracks, and then there's a 9th for a master fader, which is quite a nice little touch on that regard. There is the 25 key, which I'll bring up as well on this one here. Like I say, so they're being built together. They're being built together, and like I say, you buy them as a pair. So bring this one up as well. Again, another 99 euro or so. You got a nice little touchpad on that as well, plus the keys and 8 knobs for manipulating the VSTs within Ableton itself. It is designed for Ableton, very much so. So if you're using anything else, God forbid, probably not the...
If you're a heathen like me, I suppose, and like to be a nonconformist.
Exactly. If you want to be anything like that, it is built for that kind of thing. You don't have to use it. It is kind of like done for that. But I mean, all these things can be strong armed if you want to. But
well, Logic does have a clip launcher. I've never used it, but it does have one, and I'd be curious if this does work in that way. In the chat survey channels there, what's going on, Matt? He says, of course they announced this now. Did you get something instead of it, or is it just you don't need it now, but you did a time before?
Well, I immediately I sent this to you last night. My time.
I know you were quite excited about it.
I was quite excited about it, and I am happy that I really like the launch control that I've got. I'm really happy with it. But when I saw this, a little bit of me was like, have I jumped the gun? Have I bought it too quick? But there are some drawbacks. Now, granted, the launch control is 150 euro, and so it's an extra $50. And I've got the Launchpad Pro, which was a lot more, which was closer to, I think it was closer to 200 euro, something like that. So I've got like a slightly more upgraded set. The APC Mini and the APK 25, they're very good for scratching. So like you guys go out into the big wide world, you're always about getting out of the studio and with your daughter's jams and stuff. This is how you would do it with your laptop if you're in a cafe or in a park or something. It looks great for scratches. You can launch keys and you can make things happen. You can slightly tweak things and gain stage and stuff like that, and it's nice. But they don't have velocity sensitive pads, which is a big deal.
The keyboard is velocity sensitive though, right?
The keyboard is velocity sensitive, okay. Yeah. But if you're one of the big things about these pads is for finger drumming, for example, which you really should have velocity sensitivity, which you can have with a plugin with Ableton. That's fine. But I mean, how natural do you want to get, that kind of thing? So it's more, it is more geared towards like making a scratch on the fly as opposed to like live production and live creation, that kind of thing.
I mean, I don't know if velocity sensitive pads are that important to me. I mean, on the SP, I always have fixed velocity and just alter it in the like post if I need to. I mean, when I'm in a DAW, I do tons of velocity changes. with hi-hats and things like that, but it's all in post because I don't necessarily want the kick to be multiple velocities when I'm hitting it, but of course my fingers are going to. So for finger drumming, for me personally, chat, let us know if you feel differently. That's not a make it or break it. And in the chat, Survey Channel says he got the Launch Control XL for live stuff, and he said it integrated nice into his set via Reaper, but I could definitely use some more buttons. We always could. And then Shady, actually, I'm sorry, Hydro Fighter says both Shady and he have one of the APC minis, very portable, would like some knobs though. And Shady says he loves the APC mini.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of an idea. Like, again, with the launch control, you've got knobs on that, and that really works quite nicely. This doesn't. It has it on the keys. It doesn't have it on the mini itself. Which, if you need that kind of thing, then yeah, you're going to need that kind of thing. What is quite interesting though, I did find, was the keys, the pads themselves, seem to be more geared up for using the squares and using the grid as kind of like a synth, like a lead line, for example. It's more intrinsic, which again you can get with something like the launch pad, and it tells you kind of really well what chords you're using, what scale you're in, and what key you're in. But it's very kind of adaptive to that kind of thing, which could be quite nice if you're not so fussed about using traditional keys. So I don't know if that might be up to some people's alley as well. Again, making things that are not kind of strategic to keyboard, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Bendu says he has an old APC 40. There's a couple dots after that. Is that you don't enjoy it or you do love it? Let us know. But Eon, what's your take on all of it?
I was looking at the APC Mini actually for playing live, just clip launching and mixing, basic mixing, because I'm thinking that absolute bare minimum. I do have the launch control, and that is probably more likely going to get used. I've got a pair of pushes as well. I've got the old one and that too, so I was going to use one of those for live, one of them for studio. So I'm really trying to think. You can actually do it all on the push, and then it is velocity sensitive. Like you, Sunwarper, I put it on fixed velocity on the SP most of the time for the same reasons. But on push, I do actually make use of velocity sensitivity, recording things and so on, especially
because you can play keys on that too, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's your main.
But
MIDI
for
thing.
samples and that, otherwise you end up with wonky samples and certain beats stick out unintentionally and so on. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in the Mini. I mean, it's a lot of control in a really small surface area, and that's what I'm all about at the moment. I do not want to be carting a lot of stuff around playing live, really. So
bring the gig to you, bro. Bring the gig.
Well, there's that too. But, I mean, why pick and choose? Do both, But in the real world, stream from home, maybe you do need to do everything. I mean, that's our remit these days, isn't it? You got to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just back to the velocity sensitive issue. I mean, the one nice thing is with that one, you have the keyboard. So if you needed to play drums with velocity sensitive or sensitivity, you could just play it on the keyboard. So there is that.
I've also been looking at using these as well.
I was looking at those. I wanted to do that. Ben Burton.
Yeah. He has like 3 of them, right? Yeah.
He's got 3 daisy chains, so he's got basically a 12-track mixer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I used to do 20 channels on this, as you can see, because if you switch between the 3 colors, then you can get the next set of channels. So I had 2 of them.
Well, there you go.
Who makes that one? What's that called?
It's Alan and Heath.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the dream. A daisy chaining a couple of those together and having a full kind of like adaptive.
What's the cost for one of those?
The one is $300, I think.
Well, that's not that bad.
I think I got them cheaper than that, but it was a couple of years ago.
Probably get them used too. Bendu says, I kind of envy the RGB colors as I tend to use color consistently to organize, but I like all the knobs.
More knobs is always a good thing. I mean, if there's any feedback for any manufacturer of any form hardware, more knobs.
More knobs, please.
Always. So yeah, very much. Any more on that? I was excited by this. Like I say, it's just more. There's all that kind of like in the DAW kind of live mixing, live kind of theory. That really struck me. That struck me very much.
I really like the idea of really small form factor things with a lot of control. It's all there. It's taking up subtle space. You can get on and do it. You've got the control you need to actually do something performative rather than just, hit and play or whatever.
Well, let me ask you, Curtis, have you considered swapping the one you have now for one of those?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because
velocity sensitive?
No, the knobs, on the actual knobs. Like with my launch control, I can control sends and returns to the various channels, but also I can control all the knobs. So this is great. This is a wonderful description of all the knobs. I love the knobs. Give me more knobs, please. I can also control things like filters, and I can control turning on delays and stuff in the effects chain, which you can't do with the APC. It's again, that's why so it's less of a live instrument. This is for me is a live mixer, so I can mix on the fly and do live streaming.
Yeah.
That's for scratching, and that's where I think the difference is on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be powerful, just like you said, with a laptop out like at a cafe or something. You could do everything on just that one tiny little thing. It doesn't take up much real estate. Or if you have not a lot of space, like on your desk, like me, that would be awesome to just control everything from one tiny little MIDI keyboard. In the chat, Hydrofighter says that he seconds what Benju said about all the knobs and the colors. He said, I love how the push uses the colors, but I like the faders on the APC 40.
That's fair. The APC 40 is a lovely piece of kit as well. That's another way to go if you want to go for the big kahunas, so to speak. Yeah, very much so. That is the stuff coming out of Akai, and only for $200. If you're a new producer and in your bedroom, can't really much beat it. And if you're using Ableton as well, as you should be, it's the way forward. But yes. Any more on that, or should we switch to the slight correction?
I think we're good. Just chat. Is anyone considering getting one of those Akais? Let us know. And if so, why? What would you be replacing or supplementing with it?
Or what else works? Maybe you've been using Fader Fox or something like that.
Or the APC 40.
Is the fader? Is that a fader? Is that thing you sent me over Christmas, like that box?
Oh, that thing's awesome.
They got loads of little controllers, various MIDI controllers.
I know. Types. There's one YouTuber that uses it with the 404, and he can control. He MIDI synced or CC'd all the effects, so he can just use that to change all the effects. You don't have to switch. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like the idea of that.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's a really cool idea. I'll find the YouTuber. I'm just blanking on the name and post it in the Discord after the chat. So if anybody wants to follow up, if you're watching posts either on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that, well, first leave a rating. It helps a ton. But then check the Discord. The link is both in the YouTube description and all of the podcast sites.
Very much so. So yes, okay. So that is Akai. In Sunwarper, would you like to introduce our last little bit before we move to the marketing of Round Robin?
Sure. Yeah, a slight correction, or since we always go with spacey piloting things, a course correction, let's say. Maybe.
Oh, that's good.
But I was noticing when I was watching back when I was making the edit for our clip about the Latch, the sequencer for iOS, the video that we showed that was on, I think it was Syntopia or something like that, was actually for the same company, but a different app. I think it was Temp or something. So I just wanted to, we'd be remiss if we didn't correct it and cover it. So I wanted to share that video of the actual Latch and have a quick discussion about it. I mean, it's pretty much what we talked about was still the Latch, and all the descriptions were still the Latch, but the video was not. So, Curtis, if you don't mind sharing that, and then we'll just have a quick talk about it.
Here we go. I'll go straight into a sound demo. So they're jamming with the NI hypher as well as the Latch itself. Skip forward a little bit. Low down.
So just to for those who need a refresher on what the Latch is, or if this is your first time coming to it, it's described as a conceptual MIDI controller and sequencer designed for working with drone, textural, or soundscape synthesizer patches. So it's all about MIDI notes, pitch bend, and CC values. It doesn't make any sounds itself. It's a sequencer. It can do really cool, like, generative ambient type sounds, as you heard with that. So yeah, I just wanted to correct that mistake and show what it actually was. And over in the chat, really quick, Hydrofighter says that the APC Mini actually allows you to control parameters like the knobs using the faders. It's not that great for bouncing between effects parameters and volume.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, so hearing the Latch properly, any new opinions on it or anything like that? Yeah, like anything?
I'm trying to think how it differs, what it gives you that's different. And I'm wondering how customizable the descriptions on the pads are and things like that as well. It's definitely piqued my curiosity. I really like the idea of using iPads as controllers, especially where you've got a lot of different sounds. I mean, obviously, what the SP404's got a 16 grid, isn't it? 4x4?
Yeah, 16.
You've got something significantly bigger like that. It's just a bit more convenient if you're using sound clips and samples a lot like that. Could be more useful. But yeah, I wonder how customizable it is to be able to, because I think there's one thing when you're just jamming, right? And another if you're performing. You want to be really damn sure where everything is, you know. You want to make it quite easy if you're going to be performing live with it. So, yeah, I'd be interested to look a little bit more, though, and I probably will.
Yeah. Well, if you get it, let us know. As I anticipate you probably
he'll
will.
Get it.
So I should just say when you get it, let us know, and maybe you can give us a little video demo.
Well, it's going to offer me something, though, that I don't already have, you know.
Yeah, I think one thing that I think it does, just from reading about it, it says every group, so it says there are 16 groups split into 2 banks, A, B, C, and so on. Each group has an assignable MIDI channel, color, and 8 continuous controllers. Every group also has a looper that records note state changes. Order and velocity of recorded notes is automatically shuffled after loop restarts to create variety. So it sounds like you can do some pretty cool, like, per step changes and things like that.
So from a sequencing point of view, it is a bit different.
And Survey Channel says, is there a special cable for that bad boy? I'll have to dig out my older iPad or something. Are you talking for the Latch? I think it's just connected probably USB-C or Lightning with, and then one of those dongles that goes to USB or something like that. It doesn't say anything about a special cable, so I think it just connects. It just says it's for full-size iPads and not recommended for iPad minis, so...
Yeah, I mean that would be Lightning cable, wouldn't it?
I think new iPads have C, because people keep mentioning on my YouTube videos with the iPad, they're like, "Oh, why don't you sync it to your SP with the USB-C?" I'm like, "I have Lightning, and I'd have to get that dongle." I intend to. Oh, iPad into a PC. I think you can just connect it via USB.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's what a Survey Channel asked. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks quite. It looks like, again, despite. I mean, having a look at this interface now, it looks like it. So a lot of it can be transferred across from what we said last week. It's a portable way of making something a little bit different, a different workflow. And for me, at least, the idea of just kind of sitting down with something that's completely alien, completely foreign, tapping a few things and seeing what happens. You know, you never know what you can then use the AUXCORD app for, and then put it straight into.
Well, you would have to connect, so that Latch doesn't make noise. It's only MIDI. Yeah, so you'd have to connect like your Nova or like a Ableton or something like that. But
but again, it's evolution is putting every single tool that you can get in your fingertips. It used to be a time when you'd have to go to modular stuff to do sort of generative, self-modulating things like that with certain percentages of randomness and whatnot. Now it's built into DAWs themselves with probability for certain notes and all the rest of it, follow actions in Ableton for clips. And now you're getting, MIDI apps that do a similar thing that allow that sort of randomization. It's good to have all these tools and different ways of accomplishing similar things, because I don't know, people think differently and work differently, don't they? And you might find a way in that works much better for you than one of the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Any way to kind of, like you say, more and more ways. But the more ways in which you can be creative, the more you're gonna just be allowed to express yourself in the way that you see fit, and there's never anything wrong with that.
And it's all fun.
It's all fun.
That's what matters when making music. So we're short on time. Should we move over?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just in the last couple of minutes while Eon Lake was talking, we do have a new subscriber, Sliss Beats. I don't know if you're watching, but welcome to the family if you are.
Yeah.
It's lovely to have you here. Yeah.
Thanks for a sub.
Yeah, it's very much appreciated. Yeah. But yes, we'll move across now to the marketing and the round robin. I don't see any links in the docket this week, Sunwarper, so I'm assuming this is all on you.
There are no links. It's off the top of the brain.
There we go. There we go.
Really quick though, David in the chat says randomization is a great creative tool for sure. Drum Brute Impact is brilliant for that. Yeah, I use the circuit tracks. You can randomize every step, and I make like generative music from that with probabilities and things like that. And thanks to the MIDI outs, which basically would be like what the Latch would be, you could do that with the circuit tracks. So it's a really cool way to just make some new sounds or just get lost in sound design for a while with these ever-changing sounds. But yeah, so for the marketing minute, I just wanted to talk quickly about playing to the strengths of each platform if you care about that kind of thing and you're trying to get either exposure or just, new eyes on you. Maybe if you've got a release coming out, it's good to know if you're using a platform, like what the platform is really focused on and what it pushes. So like Instagram, a large percentage of reels are viewed silently. So you want to have a lot of text. Maybe at the start have like the purpose of the video. Like if I'm making a beat, I'll say like making a beat from a piano note or a single piano note or something like that. And then if you use TikTok, I know it's kind of a vomit-inducing word sometimes, but if you use TikTok, it's very audio based. So they have text to speech you can use right at the start. So if you were doing text on Instagram, you could do text to speech on TikTok. So it would say making a beat from a single piano note. And I bring this up because I tested this out using Instagram and TikTok, doing those, and it worked far better on TikTok, but Instagram having the text, you get people reading and things like that. So just an interesting little note I wanted to add. Like if you're trying to grow or get exposure on these, know what the platform is built around.
Yeah. Or if you don't like these platforms and want to make the time that you spend on them actually work for you.
Exactly.
Rather than just not liking them passively and wasting your time on them. Because if you don't like them, then, learn how they work and minimize the amount of effort you have to put into it.
Yeah, that's my goal for 2023 is use these as a tool. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. I'm like trying to figure out the ways to utilize them in the best means possible with the least amount of time on them. So yeah, Curtis, what do you think? You've been doing a reel a day, so I'd be curious to hear your take.
I've been doing a reel a day. Yeah, I think we've gone through before a couple of times last year about what kind of makes a reel pop, and it seems to still be running the same way as what we were saying before. But I echo what you're saying in terms of know what it is. Like I know what an Instagram reel will do. I don't always do it, but I know which ones work, and it works when it works. And it means that I can log on once a day, make a post, and then 5 minutes later I turn it off. I don't have to look at it again until 24 hours later. It's lovely. It's a much healthier way of doing things. I still haven't. I don't plan to either go across to TikTok or anything like that. I'm okay with Instagram for now. I do a bit of Twitter, do a bit of Discord. We are doing more shorts. We are going to be running a few tests as an Audionautic collective next month on shorts, and we're going to be doing a few. Sunwarper had a whole monologue about it.
Well, I like shorts compared to reels or TikTok. I mean, there's not really any difference. I prefer YouTube compared to that. It's the second biggest search engine, so it's good to get out there. So yeah, we're gonna try something next month with that. I have some interesting news that just popped up about synths. Does anybody want to hear it?
Yeah,
it has to do with Arturia.
Okay.
So the Mini Freak 5, which is the VST, is apparently available now for anyone as a standalone plugin. $99 for an intro through February 4th, and then $199 after that.
Ooh, half price Mini Freak. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna try and find a link for that.
Oh, here, I'll send it to you. Hold on.
I'll try and put it in the
If
chat.
it's anything like the Micro, and people have been saying it is in this respect, it's got a real range. Certainly the sound demos.
Well,
I've
and
heard.
it's polyphonic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get the link?
It's a Facebook link, and I don't have Facebook here.
Oh, how dare you!
Again, talking about social media, I've just taken no longer am I on Facebook at all.
But yeah, we can put it in after. We got to move. We only got 8 minutes left before we got to go, so we'll hop into the round robin. But we'll put the link in the comments after if anybody wants to check it out. Does anybody have a Mini Freak in the chat? Let us know how you like it and if the plugin would intrigue you, or if you find the plugin would be worth it for someone who wants that, but not at the price of what is it, $500 or $600 for the hardware?
Yeah,
something like that. So I mean, it's pretty reasonable though, considering this. But
for what it does, yeah. But $99 is even more reasonable.
I mean, it's my mum's birthday on the 4th of February. Maybe I could say, "Hey, Mum, happy birthday!
My happiness is your gift."
Here's the new Mini Freak 5 VST version.
I wrote you a song on the Mini Freak 5.
It'd be nice. But yeah, okay. So we got 7 minutes left because, like I said, like we keep saying, we are stopping a little bit early for the real world stuff. So just a really quick round robin for those interested. We've been discussing the idea of commissioned work recently. Sunwarper's got an ongoing project on, and many of us have done and made a living off commissions in the meantime. And it is a good way as an independent artist to make some money, generate some money, being creative, not necessarily doing your own project or moniker, whatever you want to call it, but you can still be creative in its own right. So just a few little ideas of how to get commission work now we're in 2023. And I'm going to put Sunwarper on the spot because he is the man currently.
Well, you're the one that wrote it all out, so you could start and I'll carry it.
Okay. So in my experience and what I utilize quite a lot, it's quite nicely, is the idea of starting small. It's a slow burning thing. It's not something that you're just going to be making a load of money on overnight. And there's going to be a slog of doing a lot of work for very little money, especially in the world of things like Upwork and Fiverr, where you've got to prove how good you are. And you've got to prove that you've done jobs and that people will pay you. Until you get to a level of that, you're going to be working for absolutely nothing. So I think patience is really key. Obviously, don't sell yourself short, but you do a good job. You go above and beyond the call of duty. You build a reputation as someone who can be trusted. And then after you've built up a client base of people who keep coming back to you, then you can start to deal with them on an independent basis, not on Fiverr, not on Upwork. It's cheaper for them, and it's also better for you because you can actually charge more money because they don't take cuts. So a good place to start is places like Upwork and Fiverr, and then patience. That's my thing.
Yeah, I've had no luck with Upworks. Haven't tried Fiverr, and I really don't like the idea of how it works and things like that. Just like you were saying, like it's that weird catch-22 of like you have to have a proven track record, but you can't get a track record without a proven track. It's just like it's just weird. And then so what I found works best for me so far is just presence, like not presence, but presence with a CE. I got a lot of my commission work through my YouTube account and just posting things on Reddit, responding to people, Reddit, Facebook groups. There's like composer groups and film groups and things like that. That's been my best way of doing it. Just like direct connections and contacts, and you could even, if you find a group that you really enjoy or something, hit them up directly and be like, are you looking for any music? Here's what I do. That's my method, because I'm not a fan of the whole Upworks.
We've had two very different experiences on Upwork, haven't we?
But I also don't do the like super like work for super low rate and stuff. I don't like that. It's just a weird. That whole thing is just interesting. So yeah.
That's an interesting way to go. I did it for a while, and I did a couple of months where I was working for peanuts, but then and steady work comes from it.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
is...
it makes sense. It makes sense. I also just like having that direct contact instead of going through some third party. That's my biggest thing, is going through this third party thing. It gets kind of convoluted. But on the other hand, you do get, it seems from what Upwork says, like some sort of like payment protection, I think. I think.
Yeah.
You could probably tell me better, but it claims that like it holds it in escrow and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it depends how you want to go and what works for you. Like, it just hasn't really worked for me, so I have a bit of a jaded viewpoint of it. But what has worked is just contacting people directly, and yeah.
I think it's the way. I mean, that links into what we're saying about the marketing as well, just having a presence in different places, efficiency. I think once you establish that presence on social media, it doesn't really go away. You keep topping it up, and it just keeps. It's just another beast that follows. So you can use it to grow your moniker and grow your project, but also, like you say, you get hit up by people and say, "Hey, can you do this commission for me?" So it works. It works.
Yeah, I think
both.
the key thing, if you do it that way, is having a wide range of sounds and things like that. Not just pigeonholing your genre into one thing. Like having, let's say, neoclassical or ambient and beat stuff and string section things, orchestral stuff, things like that. Like showing that portfolio, so to speak.
That's an interesting way of putting it. On my website, you've got what I do through Curtis, and then you've got my commission stuff as two separate entities. So you can see the stuff that I do, like ebbs, flows, and solos, etc. But then you've got the stuff I've made, the soundtracks I've made, which are on another way. So separating yourself from that idea is not a bad idea in that regard as well.
No, yeah. I mean, I like to keep everything under the one banner and try to release everything under Sunwarper. I say try because I don't know how far I can stretch it with some of the stuff I'm working on right now. So I have to figure that one out. But we'll see. Of course, you could always release it much later or something, But yeah.
I get that. Eon Lake, have you got any ideas?
I was just thinking that, I mean, it's not something that I've done, but I imagine that when you start doing it, you're going to have to look at time and motion a little bit and constructive use of time. It would be very easy to look at it from your own point of view and, get pulled into bad habits and so on. You've got to remember you're working for someone else, and it's about someone else's aesthetic, someone else's what they need, their vision, which, is I imagine it requires a slight shift of position. Like you say, you need to have some creative, a large range of sound. You might get work initially just because of what you do as you, but sooner or later, if you want to make anything out of it, you're going to have to stretch yourself a fair bit, which should probably be a good thing about it. But yeah, going to be challenging, but you need to make sure, I guess. I see it as a real time suck, especially initially when you're not getting paid much. So you need to make sure that the time that you spend,
you gotta budget your time.
Productive.
But that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, budgeting your time and doing stuff like that is huge. Over in the chat, we've got a lot of conversation about the V collection, because I was asking if it's worth it. And it's some varying viewpoints, but mostly yes. And pretty much everybody's saying yes, but it depends, like, if it's what you're going to use and things like that. We'll cover that mini freak next week, because I think that's huge.
I think they were mentioning if you're a V Suite customer already, you get even more off the...
You get 50.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Thank you, Ian. Like, they did say if you already have the V collection or that suite, then it's $50 instead of $100 for that entry level. I don't know about after the entry level if it stays $50. But yeah, unfortunately, we've got to call it right about now. But everybody in the chat, thanks so much for joining us. If you want to continue the talk, head over to our Discord. If you're not there yet, the link is in the description. And, of course, we will be back next week, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'm totally blanking on the other times. Curtis can fix that for me.
7 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. CET.
There we go, yeah. And if you want to check out some awesome new independent electronic music, you can head to our Audionautic radio playlist. The link is in the description. With that, any final words, gentlemen?
Thanks to everyone in the chat.
Yeah, it's lush. It's lovely. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, been a great episode. Sorry we're cutting a bit short, but we'll be back next week. So yeah, until then, Take it easy. See you later.
Thanks for watching.